Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabansi. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things. Now, we see them, and today we got a pretty interesting show for you guys that we definitely want to get into. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Now, as y'all aware, we're still going through the playoffs. We're in the second round. Some pretty interesting games last night. The Boston Celtics were able to get a decisive win against the Philadelphia 76ers in Philly and snatching back home court advantage. I really wasn't surprised. I think Boston is such an elite team. So I actually think the Celtics can go on to win this series, to be quite honest with you. There was no surprise there. Yesterday and then the game after that, we saw the game between the Phoenix Suns and the Denver Nuggets, and the Phoenix Suns were able to snatch a win. And I think Devin Booker, man, he was looking Kobe-esque yesterday with those mid-range jump shots. And Kevin Durant, I think Kevin Durant finished that game with 39 points, although he got hit up at the end of that game with that poster. And I think Devin Booker finished the game with 47 points. It was incredible. So it's good to see that they were able to get a win and make that series competitive moving forward. But there was a series that took place in the first round. And one of the most intriguing first round matchups was between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, as you guys know, the Memphis Grizzlies are the unofficial kings of trash talking in the NBA, right? No one talks more trash than the Memphis Grizzlies. And going into that series, man, they were just talking about just a bunch of trash. Bunch of trash as they usually do. And this had been something that they had done all season long. Now, right before the series started, we saw Dillon Brooks go out there and make a bunch of ridiculous statements about LeBron. And y'all know how I feel about LeBron. Although I have him in my top 5, I don't like some of his antics, but nevertheless, he is still one of the 5 greatest players of all time, at least in my opinion, right? In my opinion. And I think you have to show some level of respect to him, given the fact, given what he's done over the course of his career and given what he's capable of doing, still at this advanced stage in his career. So Dillon Brooks is up there being, talking about being the bear whisperer, talking about I poke bears and all kind of crazy stuff. You got to show me, you got to give me 40 and all of that stuff. So what ended up happening? The Lakers went there and basically beat those boys like a drum in 6 games. And in the final game of that series, they beat them by 40 points. Ironically, they beat them by 40 points, right? So as the dust is settling around that series, we're beginning to hear things come out. First, it was related to the Shams report that he put out there as it pertained to Dillon Brooks, talking about the Memphis Grizzlies will not bring him back under any circumstances. And today, I came across an article here from fadeawayworld.net that highlighted some comments that Austin Reeves, who's one of the Lakers' best players, by the way, some comments that he had to make about all of the trash talking that Dillon Brooks was doing all throughout that series. But before we get into his comments, this video is brought to you by sponsor Aura, who's also the official sponsor of the T-Wolves. Do you know what the fastest growing crime in America is today? It's identity theft. Imagine trying to log into your email only to see that your password has been changed. Then you start getting weird notifications from your bank and credit cards only to find out that all of your personal and sensitive information has been totally compromised. If you think it can happen to you and your family, just know that in 2020, over 49 million Americans were victims to identity theft, costing them a combined $56 billion. That is why we are excited to partner with Aura, who's a sponsor of this video. Aura is the #1 identity theft and financial fraud protection. Aura monitors the dark web and alerts you if any of your passwords and accounts have been breached. And funny enough, after using Aura, I discovered some of my credentials were floating around in the dark web, and the app showed me exactly when and where the breach happened. In addition, Aura allows you to set spending alerts, and they'll notify you of any suspicious transactions. Aura is 4 times faster than any of its competitors in alerting you if someone is trying to open a credit card or obtain a loan using your name. And remember this, every 14 seconds, someone becomes a victim of identity fraud. Don't let it happen to you. Now click the link in the description and try Aura for free for 2 weeks and see if any of you or your family's personal information has been compromised. Start your free trial at aura.com/dreamerspro. And when you try Aura by using the link in the description below, also know that you're supporting this channel. Thank you. So what I want to do is I want to quickly read a little bit of what this article had to say and what Austin Reeves had to say in response to Dillon Brooks. So it says, everyone was mad at him over his comments, and Austin Reeves recently has some big words for Brooks. blasting him for disrespecting one of the greatest players of all time. For him to say to someone whose main goal is to win and who's arguably the greatest player ever, I thought it was very laughable. Reeves told The Athletic after game 1 versus the Golden State Warriors. I took it as, you can't be serious. You look like a fool. But hey, people talk. It wasn't really spoken on amongst the group, but it was really just kind of a known thing. We're going to do what we've got to do to handle business. Reeves admits that the situation inspired the team to beat the Grizzlies, make Brooks pay, and advance to the second round of the postseason for the first time since 2020. So you heard what Austin Reeves had to say. I 100% concur with every single syllable he uttered. The guy made 100% sense, and I think a lot of us agree with him. Dillon Brooks was up there looking like a bona fide fool, making those statements again. You see, what surprised me, and I think this played into the delusion, was that this wasn't like a Damian Lillard, for example. If Damian Lillard talks trash, although he's not the player that LeBron James is historically, he still has a lot of basketball games, so he can go out there and drop 50 and make it entertaining. But in the case of Dillon Brooks, you're someone that's not capable of giving LeBron 30 for 2 games in a row. And I think in that series, he ended up averaging like 10-point shot, 30-something%. I mean, it was horrendous numbers all throughout that series, and was not a difference maker whatsoever. So for you to still have the chutzpah to go out there and say those things to LeBron spoke to the level of delusion, not just of him, but of the entire team, right? I don't think a player of that caliber, a player that has that type of game, goes out there and talks trash to LeBron. You got to be somebody in the upper echelon, and it doesn't have to be somebody that's historically great, although that would be it would be crazy if, for example, Devin Booker started trash talking LeBron James. That would look crazy. But at least he has the game to back it up, although he doesn't have the accolades to back it up. The difference is with Dillon Brooks was that he had no game to back it up, and on top of that, he didn't have the accolades. And then after talking all of that trash, we couldn't find these dudes for the post-game interviews. These guys were running out of the locker room. And that made it even more of a cornball move, because usually these guys have a lot to say. And the moment the rabbit had the gun, all of a sudden you couldn't find these dudes. So I think what Austin Reeves said is what a lot of people thought in that organization, in that locker room, and outside the locker room. It was a clown show. And I think that the Memphis Grizzlies have now relegated themselves to the official clown show of the NBA until further notice. Because now when you see these guys talk trash moving forward, no one is going to take them seriously. At least no one should, because they have nothing to back it up. And they went out looking pretty bad against the Los Angeles Lakers. So I think Austin Reeves was 100% on the money. So these are my thoughts. What I want to know is, what do you think about what Austin Reeves had to say there? Whatever you guys think, leave your thoughts in the comment section, and we catch you on the next show. Peace.